We have Lee and Marlon. Welcome, my friends. Nice to see you. I think it's just the three of us right now, right? So, what do you want to talk about? Just being the three of us. I was a couple minutes late. I was attempting to make a YouTube short, talking about stumbling upon the meaningful in the very familiar. That was my opening statement. I never got past that. I had some interruptions. My cat came in, kept meowing right in mid video. Um, you can't lock her out because then she just meows at the locked door. Cannot fathom the fact that a door would be shut to keep her from entering. So I don't even bother to shut the door on her. Um, and then I realized that I was 2 minutes late, so I didn't want to stumble upon making a video. I didn't want to be rushed. Um, I've read this morning though. Section 3. Hey, Sniper. It is impossible to overestimate your brother's value. Only the ego does this, but all it means is that it wants the other for itself and therefore values him too little. What is estimable. Man, I pronounced it perfectly this morning and now I can't. Clearly cannot be evaluated. You will be awakened through the appearance of your brother or sister, or in the case of our friend Lee, you will be awakened in the presence of your ex wife. Hey, Sissy. Sissy says banger. Lee, that says, I wonder if you can fathom. Hey, Pinky. Hello, Yogi. Yogi, it's raining so hard. I'm sitting in water. It's raining hard here, too, all day. Roland says, ad time. Appreciate you guys watching it. Marlon says, can we please do some breath work? Ideally, when Rilo is here, too. Yes, definitely. Hey, William. So, Lee, I wonder if you can fathom, hey, Kingman, how important today was for you. That you were able to look upon your ex wife with kindness, with concern, with compassion. You open your heart a little bit. You might have been a little guarded. That's okay. I always tell people don't confuse the level of form with the level of the formless. Don't confuse what we do in our hearts with what we do with our bodies. It's not that they are separate. We're not creating a um, dichotomy of forgiveness. What we're doing is recognizing that forgiveness is an internal process and it has outer manifestations. Um, but if that outer manifestation says, keep your guard up a little bit, you respect that. Sissy says, Sniper, hiya. Anyway, it's a long winded speech of saying that's a valuable signpost that you had today. How you felt in that difficult and uncomfortable situation and what you were able to do. He says it made me realize that life is hard for all, and I'm tired now. I don't want to argue. I'm blessed that I'm able to have the company and friendship of my sons. Man, you were able to see gratitude in a difficult situation. I love that. Sissy says the solar flash is an inside job. Amen to that. Now, of course, like I said, it outer, um, does have an outer manifestation. This is why the course says, "Do not seek to change the world; seek to change how you see the world." And yet, when you do that, the world will begin to change. All of a sudden, people who were that thorn in your side are seen as a blessing. They helped get you there. Hey, Duncan. Duncan says, "Hey, Eric, the $1 billion syndrome. I gave you a shout out on after my workout today. I gave you and Runner Boy. Pinky says, I'm working in this rain. I need money to fix my car. Well, I hope you're safe, Pinky. Sending love. I know, man, making those deliveries. Phoenix says, hey, Phoenix. Hey, darling. Oh, my goodness. Yes, I made it. A beautiful Yogi. I'm so happy to see you. Much love to you. Much love to you, too. Thank you for coming in. And thank you for the happy poop. I did miss the floating poop. I hope. MK says, not been too long when I was there for my ex fiance when she wasn't good. She also finally been able to talk normally to me. Now I honestly prefer no contact, but don't have the heart to block her. Thank you for the happy poop. Thank you for more happy poop. Hey, Willow. Willow says, hi, how is everyone? How are you? Marlon says, hi to Dolly. We got more happy poop. I keep missing it though. Got my eyes peeled. Let me bring this a little bit closer. Pinky says, thank you. You're welcome. Hey, is everyone connected with Pinky? Phoenix says, so Dundee, good to see you. Pinky says, how's everyone's day today? Well, much like yours, my friend, it is wet. However, I don't have to get out in it that often like you do. Other than that, it's been a good day. Hi, Anna. Anna says, hi, Yogi. Hi, everyone. How's your day been, Anna? Well, Marlon says, I will. Always better when I see you. Marlon says hi to Anna. Pinky says, still trying to get to 400 subs, Yogi. I'm struggling so hard. So, guys, is anyone here not subscribed to Pinky? And if so, or if not, can we fix that? She's at 368. What I'd like to do, if it was all possible, do everything we can collectively, get her to 500, and then we start working on watch hours. Hey, Pinky, I added one more, as I just happen to have an extra channel laying around. So you should be at 369 right now. Anna says, I'm good. Thank you, Yogi. How are you? And I'm doing pretty good overall. Well, hi there, Cat and Jack. We get away from Cat. Hey, Cat, are you subscribed to our friend Pinky? Duncan says, yes, thanks for the shout out. You're welcome, Duncan. Always. It's pouring down rain in Germany as well. Phyllis says, I'm not good, but I'm fine. Just news I got Rebel Will. It's just news I really didn't want to hear, but I'll just yes, but I'm fine. Send me a message if you get the chance. Willow says, so how are you, Yogi? I'm doing okay, Willow. Well, Phoenix is going to interview Soulstar. Nice. I like that. He says, I think one of the biggest hurdles for me is seeing the authenticity in someone. Maybe there's little of that in all of us. If we feel a connection, we open up more. Empathy. Here's the thing that's always been helpful for me is the realization Everyone is either extending love or they're asking for healing and help. So, what do we do if anyone were to ask us for healing or for help and we were capable of giving it? And we're all capable of giving it. And if at some point we feel incapable, then maybe if we just send a blessing. As the Course says, all we're asked to show is a little willingness, and the Holy Spirit does the rest. So, if it seems too difficult to forgive, if it seems too difficult to be kind, if it seems too difficult to extend compassion, just have a little bit of willingness, asking for a miracle. A miracle, and of course, miracles is a shift of perception. Can I see things differently? And then give it away. Give it to the Holy Spirit, give it to Jesus, give it to Krishna, give it to Buddha, whomever. Pinky says, just now I thought it was like a tornado dropping down. Man, it was so smoky and just weird. So it wasn't? So it's never mind. Oh, I'm glad it wasn't, Pinky. I mentioned before, just about this time last year, I think around the beginning of June, had a tornado in my backyard. William says I stopped asking for help. Why did you stop asking for help? And how do you, well, let me get your answer first. Marlon says, personally, my problem is that I struggle getting anything positive out of a social interaction and not just stress. It's an autism thing. And then when someone breaks my trust or hurts me, hey, Reinhardt. Reinhardt's channel says, what's up, my people? Hey, Reinhardt's, are you subscribed to our friend Pinky right up above? Where pushing to get as close to 400. And she, I believe, is at 369. Maybe more. 371. Awesome, guys. Thanks. So we're inching you closer, Pinky. He says, William, your Discord. Oops, where did that go? He says, William, hey, your Discord idea was great. I'm in. So, yeah, Lee talked about that. If you guys want to do it, Dolly's saying hi to everyone. Willis says, love you too to Phoenix. Marlon says, do I always need to be on the watch? It is not just possible to have positive interactions for me, even if I forgive and can still be there for that person. What if you thought of your interactions here as practice, Marlon? Willow says she needs to explain some things. Gotcha. Marlon says, I'm sorry to hear about Rebel. I'm sorry, Willow. William says it would be great as you can have your channel added to a notification channel when videos go up if you start a live so others can all collectively participate, even for new channels or group chats. So I can't promise how much I can't promise how much I'll be able to do anything there. But I like the thought of you guys hanging out and talking and being a support group for each other. That's the important thing for me. Hey, Michael. Michael says, "Hey, the yogi, thanks for coming to my premiere." You're welcome, Michael. I always try to make it when I can. Reinhardt says, "Pinky, make sure to return connection with me." Did you leave a comment and let him know? That way she can reach back. Hey, Rebecca. There's a genuine question. Can you help people that don't want to be helped? If that makes sense. It does make sense. And yes, you can. And no, you can't. Hey, Debs. And it probably doesn't make sense. So, how can I help someone who doesn't want to be helped? I'm just going to go by principle offered. I already mentioned it in A Course in Miracles. That um, works for me. The more I meddle in the world, the more meddlesome I become, making a mess of things because I don't understand what anything's for. I don't know why someone is going through something particular. In yogic terms, if I involve myself in someone else's karma, then I've taken on their karma as well as my own. Plus, I've created new karma that is going to have some type of um, unfolding in the future that I won't understand that will be another mess. Why would I want that? This is why the Course says, do not seek to change the world, seek to change how you see the world. That includes the people of the world. So instead of interfering, I go within, I offer forgiveness, I offer kindness, I send prayers, I send blessings. You guys heard me talk about Ho'oponopono. It's a Hawaiian shamanistic art of reconciliation and forgiveness, but forgiveness on a very deeply uh, intimate level. When we say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, what we're saying is that with just um, one consciousness, one mind, the mind of God, means we are all participants within that mind of God. So whatever is appearing, if it is appearing for this person, I see it in my consciousness, which is an extension of one consciousness. So I have a responsibility to it. If I see it, I have a responsibility to it. And I offer, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for whatever it is that is occurring within me that is causing this, that is of cause. Doesn't mean that I am to blame, means I have an ability to respond what I'm witnessing in my consciousness. And I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I did not know, and I still don't know what it is that is occurring within me that is of cause. But please forgive me. Thank you. Because now that I am aware, I offer, I love you, which seals the deal. Now that I'm aware, I love. I offer love. I offer love. So, Rebecca, like I said, if you go out and you try to fix, there's going to be resentment more than likely. There might be some blame. It might be a happy outcome. There's always that opportunity. There's always that chance. But, you got to be, if you take that chance, you got to be willing to, um, you have to be willing to take the blame to come if it doesn't work out. Me, I would much, much rather send love. I'd much rather deal with the issues that are occurring within me so that that which is occurring in the appearance outside of me will benefit. Any of that makes sense? You're welcome, Rebecca. The short answer is pray. The short answer is offer prayer to others. I gave a very long winded explanation. I could have just said pray. Now, sometimes when you pray, you will be given, ask for guidance, pray for guidance. What can I do that might be a benefit to this person? And if you're given clear guidance that feels in your heart right, then you go with that action. If you don't feel that guidance, then wait. Send love, but wait. Debs, it's nice to see you. Hey, Lucy. Lucy says, hey there, Yogi Eric. Lucy, how are you? How was your day? Sepper says, send unconditional love with intent, Rebecca. Thank you, Sepper. William says, I'm working on myself, Debs, but I'm starting to realize wishing for external aid is more unfruitful, which to continue placing hope into. Hey, Delilah. Delilah, how are you? Sorry I didn't see you when you first came in. I'm fixing that up. Hey, Jeff. Thanks for coming back, Jeff. Michael says, until I saw you mention that on your premiere, until June 7th, gets here when there'll be 3 hours to refill. Yep. So no more premieres out of free StreamYard. Hey, Michael, do you have PayPal? What if you got the what if you got the pay one and some people are willing to pitch in and help you a bit? Because that's a big thing for you. You're racking up some really important watch hours. Michael says you can offer help, but they're afraid to reject the help. Hey, Toy Pups. Deb says, yes, prayers always. And the best prayer is always asking for guidance. MK says, and I am really, really, really fantastic, especially today. Fantastic, amazing. Fantastic, amazing. Deb says, William, you have to take care of you first to be able to help anyone else. Tough pill to swallow, but necessary. William says, yikes, Debs, that is unfortunate. It seems to be a common theme for a lot of people. There is work out there, but they have to want to work. The job is just a job. Unfortunately, they need to embrace the suck. Duncan says, hey, Marlon. Read a comment
maybe for the hop on for a breath work. Can we do it right now? Willow already asked a couple of times.
Did she? Yep. Yeah. Let me read a couple comments real quick. People have been waiting.
Yeah, of course.
Wanted to read from Duncan. Says, just to change the subject, I tried my first 40-minute session in Navy SEALs yesterday. Wow. How many you think? Bear in mind, first try, Max got 240. So I thought I would try. I'm going to guess 220. Duncan. All right. Thanks for the poop, Dolly. Hey, Shirley. Shirley drops a link. We're going to get started in just 1 second, Marla. Useless Farm. Shirley just dropped a link. Useless Farm. If anyone would like to subscribe, I just did because it's a link from Shirley. If Shirley recommends them, 254. Holy cow. Duncan, I apologize for underestimating you. That's incredible. Dolly says, I never know what somebody needs inside them. So when I send love, I want someone to feel whatever they're missing. Beautiful, Dolly. Beautiful.
That is awesome.
I bet you're sore. All right, guys, we're going to do some breath work. We're going to keep it very simple. We're going to do a breathing in for 4, exhaling for 8. We're going to do 10 rounds.
Okay.
We're going to notice the pause between breaths, but we're not going to linger there. We're just going to notice.
And love to everyone.
Yep. And we're going to do it with, of course, nasal breathing. And we're going to do the ujjayi, that ha breath. Boom says enjoy the breath work. Back later. All right. Willow, are you
See
ready?
you, William.
We're going to wait for the thumbs up from Willow.
Yeah.
Let us know when you're ready, Willow.
Just making sure I'm sitting a bit more comfortable. Stable.
Shirley says,
Hey, Shirley.
does
It does. I mean, there's definitely a lot to improve, and it's not the best country in the world, but like, I would say it's probably 8 out of 10 from what is available worldwide. Not saying it's in the top 20%, but like on a scale from 1 to 10, if 10 is the best country to get some support, stuff like that, probably Germany is about an 8 or so. So it's
okay? That's
it is
not bad.
pretty good. Yeah.
All right, Willow
But of
is
course,
ready.
the whole world could also still get quite a bit further, but yeah, it is still pretty decent.
Right. All right, Marlon, if you could
Yes.
relax. Remember, relax. Follow the breath. Welcome back, Pinky. Just follow the breath. Notice when you're breathing in. Notice when you're breathing out. On that out breath, allow your body to get a little heavier with every out breath. So you breathe in, you breathe out through your nose, your body gets a little heavier, sinking deep within itself. Deep sense of relaxation with every breath. As we breathe in through the nose, very easily enter that ujjayi breath, that ha sound. Breathing in, breathing out. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. We're going to begin with breathing in for 4, exhaling for 8. A nice rhythm. There's a pause between every breath, and we just notice. We're going to do 10 rounds, and we're going to begin breathing in for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In for 1, 2, 3, 4. And out for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And let the breath go. Sit. Eyes closed, relaxed. Letting go of all the accumulated stress through the course of the day. Just being. Simplest thing in the world. Just being. Everything happening by itself. No struggle. And when you're ready, open your eyes, and I will see you in the chat.
Hey, Big Al.
Hey, Big Al.
Pleased to
Hey,
meet
Rand.
you, Sir Sheriff.
Hey, Life on Random.
Hey, Random. And anyone else? Min, Pinky, Leela. I don't think so. Okay.
Hey, Pinky, you're at 373 subscribers right now. Well done. That's up 7, I believe.
Nice.
Big Al, how's everything? New place.
Right.
How was breath work, Marlon?
Was good, not. I didn't relax quite as deep as some other times, but it was still good. I think the. Well, that wasn't breath work, but what? Pretty sure the time that what? I think
Right.
the Ho'oponopono was, or maybe one other kind of meditation, but both of them probably was when it was like that really had a big effect on me.
Do you practice any formal meditation?
No.
Would you
Not
like
any.
to? Would you like to practice formal meditation?
Yes, but I cannot do it on my own because it puts me in a pretty vulnerable state, and if I could easily get stuck in a PTSD loop, maybe to the point of getting re-traumatized even.
Right.
I've already had that happen before.
What type have you tried?
I don't know, like just I had audio, no, like it was still guided meditation, but it was pre-recorded in a general recording, and that was where I ended up slapping myself and biting into my arm to not completely lose track of what place and what year I was in.
Now, would I be able to, if I would do a meditation session with you on chat messenger, would I be able to, if such a thing were to happen, is there any way I would be able to reach through you? Or is it too much of a chance?
Like, I think the meditation that we did here on stream, that was for now, that was right. That was getting close to the limit, I would say.
Okay.
Like, yeah, there were 2 times, and like especially one time, I think somebody in the chat even wrote, I think we lost him or something like that. Like, I wasn't lost. It just took some time to be in the right state of mind again to be able to chat. But yeah, like if it was something that goes even deeper than that, that would
This
be
would
too
probably
much.
right. This would probably take you a little deeper. So, I wonder if the best meditation for you is the loving kindness meditation that we did the other day.
Maybe.
Um,
Yeah. And of course, like I would think that any kind of meditation could be a stepping stone to, after a while, be able to go deeper, just not right from the start.
Well, with the metta, the loving kindness, it's a meditation of connection. So you are joined with others. You're reaching out. So it could cause a sense of being less vulnerable because you are sending love to other people. And one thing that I've experienced with you is you have a very loving nature and you want to help everyone out. So when you are doing that meditation, you're literally sending love and kindness first to yourself, then to someone that you love. It could be your cat. Your cat's to someone, and then you
She's
go
sleeping right now.
Then you go to someone a little more difficult, and then you start extending love towards people, the ones that are very difficult in your life. Big Al said he's going to bed soon. Do you want to come and say hi, Big Al? It's been a few days.
Yeah.
Phoenix says she understands about that PTSD loop. Let me real quick. I want to say,
I don't know, Dolly. You're always happy to reach out. I think, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm gonna check again, but like when you said something about those stuff, I did check if you had any socials or email linked on your channel, but of course, if there's no way to really reach out, then but everyone is. I usually make sure to have at least one way of contacting me in my channel description, so you're more than welcome to reach out. And
our friend Random says this slowly getting more subscribers. So hard to focus on anything social media wise when you're having so much going on. Been so busy. I'm glad your channel is growing though, and when things settle down, you'll have those new subscribers, and you'll put out even more content, and it'll just keep growing more and more. We will help as we're able.
Right. One thing that I do have to mention, Yogi, before I hop off and let Al come on. To be fair, when meditation got me that deep into stuff, that was after I had just hit another pretty traumatic event. Like it was a few months later, but I was still deep in the process of recovering from that, which of course made me more vulnerable. But still, so when we did those meditations, I did feel that I was getting about to where it could go too deep. So yeah.
When you come up and when we do breath work, I do a little guided meditation with it. When you do it up on the live stream, give me a safety sign. Raise your hand. Let me know if we need to back out of it a little bit for your own sake, and just let me know.
I don't think I've ever like with anything around breath work with you. It has never been like that. With some other breathwork teacher I already got, I have sometimes went into that, but I think this is also like it's a space that I feel pretty comfortable in.
Good.
And
here's the good news with breathwork, and I've mentioned this several times. I used to argue with my breathwork teacher, who taught me how to teach when I got certified, my very first certification in breathwork. He said that he believed you get 95% of the benefits of meditation simply by doing breath work.
Yeah.
Thank you, Phoenix, for the poop. I know that sounds fun. Hey, Adam. And I, as a meditation teacher, I would disagree with him and say, I don't believe that's true. But the more and more I teach according to his principles, the more I actually realize it's true that you can get 90% of all the benefits of meditation
Yeah.
with a committed breathwork practice. 3 times a
Yeah.
day, therapeutically as needed.
Actually, today I have done once or twice some breath work on my own.
Good. Hi, Isabella.
Thank you, everyone. Much love to you too. And to all of you, and of course, especially to Willow. I know if she needs it, if she's still here, and if not, she still needs it. But yeah.
True.
I know. Oh God, like I've. There's a reason I'm still alive, and I still keep going. Maybe I don't even know that reason myself, but I know I'm not my trauma otherwise.
Hey,
And there's too many different traumas that one could define me anyway.
I don't think you need to know. This is what I
don't think
was.
either.
This is what I was reading this morning. This is directly from A Course in Miracles. Do you recognize that fear, the fear that arises from the meaningless attempt to judge what lies far beyond our judgment, that we cannot even see? Judge not what is invisible to you, or you will never see it, but wait in patience for its coming. It will be given to you to see your brother's worth when all you want for him is peace, and what you want for him you will receive. I think it's enough to just wait in patience. Wait in patience, and allow.
Like I've been a few years ago, at least, I've just accepted that I don't have to know everything.
It's wise.
And it's okay. There's some things I maybe have no explanation for, or just there is no way to ever know for sure, and that's all right.
Agreed. And if you
and I don't need an answer for everything. I don't need to make one up, and I can't find it. Just, of course, it's scary, the not knowing, or it can be scary, but accepting it can also be very freeing.
That's the key to patience. Hey, Maddie. Maddie's here, says the Dolly, sends some love. Maddie, it's nice to see you, my friend. Hey, Mercy. Mercy says,
hey,
I can share.
Hey, Maddie. And Mercy.
Hey, Marlon, we're going to see if Big Al wants to come up, because he's going to go to bed in a little bit. Thank you, my friend.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you for looking after Willow.
Of course. Always.
Thank you so much.
Much love to everyone. I like having this cup because perfect to send some love and just.
That's true.
While I'm talking, I can't really type emoji. She's in the chat line on here talking, but yeah.
I appreciate
just a heart out of hearts. And my cat is coming by. Maybe she wants to say goodbye.
Might want to say hi to my cat. He's sitting here looking at me. Hey, Marlon, I'm going to have to call you out. I'm going to have to call you out for a minute. You're making me look bad in front of my cat. My cat sees you picking up your cat, and she's like, how come you're not picking me up? As you can tell.
Okay, right by the way, my cat is also acting way more cute and nice than she normally would. Yes, I can. She is a little cute.
Hey. She's all right. She thinks she can coast on her good looks and cat-like ways.
A kiss on her own. That was in frame. Yeah. Like a nose kiss, like nose to nose, which is kind of like the cat version.
All right. I got to pay attention to her because you're paying attention.
anyway.
All right. Thank you, Marlon. Much appreciated.
See you guys. Yeah. I'll be in the chat.
Okay. Thank you. Do you want to say hi, Big Al? Good night. Adam says I screwed up many times, so many ways. It makes it easier to witness what I perceive as someone else's. Mercy, thank you so much, my friend. I enjoyed your session this later in the afternoon. Mercy says hi to Lucy. Rebecca says, cute cat, MK, laughing with Yogi. He's laughing at you. Sepa says, let the sands of the hourglass fall as it will. In each grain lies a lesson. In each moment of waiting, a deepening of spirit. Beautifully said. Howdy there, Big Al.
Good evening.
Good evening. What kind of cowboy talk is that?
I apologize, Yogi. I'm very tired. I'm very drowsy. I've taken my medication, so I'm not really with it at the minute.
Well, that's okay. I'm glad that you are awake enough that you can pop in and say hi and have a brief conversation, maybe help you unwind a little bit.
Yeah. I'm not going to be here too long, and that's not because I don't want to be here or anything like that. I'm very tired.
Hi, Amanda. So, Amanda said, I missed the 2 sexiest men in the world going live together. Love you all. I guess she doesn't know that the 3rd sexiest man alive is here as well. That would be you, Big Al.
Thank you.
So what's going on?
It's hard to condense everything into a very short conversation, if I'm honest.
Well, let's pick out the
So-
highlights.
So I'm waiting for a key. I've had to climb through my front window a few times
Well,
to get back in.
that's not good.
And no, it was funny, but it weren't funny yesterday because as I climbed through the window, a police officer spotted me and came and asked what I was up to. So he was very kind. He was very understanding. I climbed through the window. I showed him my key and said, I don't have a front door key yet, and I don't want to keep knocking on the neighbour's door. He saw me put a bag of shopping in the window, so he did say, it's usually burgers don't put things in people's houses; they usually take them. He says, so I'm willing to allow it this time. I'm willing to understand that maybe that's the truth. But I did show that my other key worked in the door, so because basically there's 2 front doors. There's like a porch door and my door, and I can't
Right.
get the porch at the minute. So that was the one. So I was able to show him my front door opens, but I weren't able to show the other. Well, I can open it from the inside basically. So I was able to show him that. But yeah, so there's that. I've got tons of bills to pay. Like stuff that I didn't realize to begin with that I have to pay now. So I've been working out how much money it leaves me from what I earn, and it's not a massive amount, but it's also enough to live on, I suppose. Yeah, I've had loads of meetings. I've had to cancel 2 meetings that I should have tomorrow, just because of things that are going on instead. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a heavy plate, Big Al.
There's more than that, but obviously that's all I'm kind of condensing. I even had a problem with something earlier that was not car related, but I went and asked a mechanic if he could angle grind something for me because I was so desperate. I didn't know who I was to ask. I'd asked the people that were sensible to ask, and I don't want to explain what it was that needed grinding. It was just very awkward. But I went over and I said, I have a very odd question, a very weird request, but can you angle grind this for me? And he did it, and thankfully he only charged me £3. So,
Nice.
but it was just really weird going over and saying to a mechanic, "Can you angle grind this?" He did look at me and he thought I was joking, and I was like, "No, I genuinely I need a portion of it taking off." On 2 pieces of what it was. I don't want to go into it because it's very, very stupid. But I said, "Can you angle grind 2 pieces off this, please? Because I need to hang it, and I can't with it how it is. It doesn't fit in the space." And he was very kind. He did it, and he said, "I'll charge you £3." And I was like, "I can afford that." So I did it.
I'm glad that worked out for you. That's a bit of positive news.
It is, and I feel very poor at the minute. I feel the poorest I've felt in a very long time, and that's saying something because I once lived in the street because
did
I
not know
was
that.
so. I don't normally tell people that. I don't like to tell people that. It's not a very nice thing to admit to.
So,
But I have stayed in the street because I've been so worse off. But I literally feel very poor at the minute because I have £5, and that's got to last me 9 days,
hey, do you
and I
have
still need food.
PayPal?
I don't.
Can you get PayPal?
Not really. I don't really want to. And no offense to you, Yogi. I really appreciate it. I don't want to accept money off strangers.
Well, how about if you didn't think of me as a stranger?
That's a very fair point. I don't think of you as a stranger as it is. I just wouldn't feel great about it, Yogi. It's fine. I can manage. I've worked everything out, and I can manage.
I can understand that, and I would never ever. I never want to be forceful in my approach to anyone.
Yeah.
But one thing to consider is how good I feel when I'm able to help someone, even if it's just a little bit. So when you view it that way, if you could possibly consider the great favor that you would be doing me by allowing me to help, and
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. I won't say anything more about it.
That's fair enough, Yogi. I genuinely though I can manage. I've got 2 tins of chili in the cupboard and a loaf of bread. I have a jar of jam in the fridge, and I have £5. So if I have to, I can make it last, Yogi.
Do you have tea?
I have plenty of tea. In fact, I have a cup of tea right next to me as well.
That puts me more at ease, because if you told me you were out of tea, I would drive over to England right now. I would borrow my neighbor's car and get in my neighbor's car. I would drive over to England right now, and I would buy you tea.
You know what, Yogi? I don't normally lie, but I'm willing to lie right now and say no. I don't have any tea, just because I'd love a visit from you.
It would be fun.
You could stay for a week. I would let you stay here for a week. I wouldn't let you stay for more than a week, and that's only because I don't have a spare bed, and I don't. Sleeping on a sofa or a couch, as you call it, isn't
Right.
the comfiest. So I wouldn't allow you to stay on the sofa for more than a week. I could give you my bed, but at the minute my bed is still on the floor. My mattress is still on the floor. I should, and fingers crossed, should be getting the bed frame tomorrow. All things, going to plan. I should get the bed frame tomorrow. So
Awesome.
I shouldn't be on the floor for much longer.
I spent my time sleeping on floors, sleeping in vans, sleeping in the ground, shelters in the Appalachian Trail. I slept in all kinds of places. If I've woken up, we've got to remember I spent a decade drinking, literally
Yep.
a decade. I woke up in some very, very odd places.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Amanda says that's their favorite shirt. I should send it to you. Amanda says we're not invited. You didn't invite Amanda.
Oh, I mean, I don't have many places. I mean, someone would end up having to share the bed with me then, because it's a 1 bedroom house, so I would, yeah, someone would have to share the bed with me. It's a double bed, so that's fine. If it was my old bed, it'd be a tight squeeze because my old bed was a single bed. But it would mean someone has to sleep on the sofa, and someone would need to share the bed with me. And I guess if we're desperate, someone can sleep in the bath.
Okay, I've slept in baths before. Um,
I've slept in the bath as well before. I've got to admit, I put a duvet in the actual bath itself. Obviously, I had a pillow, and then I had a duvet over the top as well. So it was actually quite comfortable. That was at a party. Everyone was hammered. No one could drive home, and my mate said to me, because everyone, like, there was around 20 of us in a very small. It was actually military accommodation, and we're taking up most of the space. And he said to me, "You're going to have to sleep in the bath because you're the smallest." Because I'm only 5'6". So I said, "I'm fine with that," and we basically made the bath into a bed, and that's where I slept for the night.
comfortable.
It was fine actually. I admit, out of some of the places I've slept while I was serving, I would definitely sleep in the bath again.
I know I've woken up in a bathtub. I have no idea how it was sleeping as I was out. I was conked out. Hey, Chosel, how are you, my friend? Chos says hi to everyone. Rebecca said Yogi and Big Al planning sleepover. I was thinking of it as Yogi and Big Al's Big Adventure.
Definitely, that's got a nice ring to it. That's definitely, that could catch on.
It does. Riding bikes together, putting flowers in our flower baskets. Um, you know, it would be fun.
Yeah, and I think the only thing that's missing from that is yodeling, because that's where that seemed. The first thought, very randomly, that came to my head was somehow we're in the mountains and we're yodeling together, is what I got from that.
Well, since the premise of this story has started with me getting in my imaginary car and driving to England, uh, why not have it in the mountains while we yodel? You know, it can't get any. Well, we're imagining. Let's go all out. You know.
Exactly. It kind of Yogi and Big Al's Big Adventure sounds like a children's book.
I was thinking, like Pee Wee, Pee Wee Herman. Remember
Oh
Pee Wee?
yeah, of course. Yep.
Because I was thinking, bike, flower basket, big adventure.
That makes sense. I don't think Rebecca will know who Pee Wee Herman is.
Yeah, that's true. It's a whole new generation.
I remember, this is going back years. I think it was WrestleMania 30. Pee Wee Herman was on WrestleMania.
He did
He
wrestle.
he didn't fight or anything, obviously, but he was. I can't remember what he was doing. I think he came on as maybe like a manager, as like a cameo kind of appearance.
Right. I first saw
A skit. A skit is what I was meant to get at. Yeah, a skit. That's what I meant.
Pee Wee Herman in the early '80s before he was still Paul Rubens, but he was adopting that persona. And Sniper will remember this. Cheech and Chong's Nice Stream, Cheech and Chong movie.
Yep. I think the way to explain to Rebecca who Pee Wee Herman is, I would say he's the American equivalent of Mr. Bean
Okay, I can see that.
in a way.
Well, now you got me wanting visiting you, Big Al. There's a short list of people that can these days drag me out of the house, or I would voluntarily step towards to hang out with. And you're on that short list, my friend.
Well, thank you. I'm genuinely honoured.
Rebecca knows. She knows Pee Wee. She says she used to love Pee Wee when I was younger. Pee Wee's Playhouse.
That's just what Rebecca used to do in the corner of her playhouse. Pee Wee Rebecca is an actor. It's a persona. We're not on about the same thing, I don't think.
I did not see that coming. I did not see that coming at all.
Oh dear.
Well, Big Al, I hope that we were able to get you laughing and smiling a bit before bed.
Oh, indeed, it's been it's definitely taken my attention off other things. Yeah, I've learned a lesson as well to measure things before I buy them. Well, I didn't buy them actually. I was gifted something. But I was basically looking for something. I inquired about the something, and yeah, I learned that you should measure things before accepting gifts because I've now got 2 mirrors that I can't put anywhere. Well, I can put them. Sorry, I can because like they will fit on the wall. The
Right.
mirrors will fit on there. But I wanted a mirror for the bathroom so that I can shave because I've been using my phone camera for a few days.
Wow.
But the mirrors are very big mirrors, and that's why I'm saying I've learned to measure things before, or at least ask the size of them. Because in a picture, I'll admit, in the picture they looked quite small, as most things do in pictures. But yeah, when I went and got the mirrors, they are big mirrors. I think like they're like 4 foot by 3 foot. So yeah, it's that's taught me a valuable lesson to now not judge things by size, but to actually ask, inquire how big are these, or measure them, or ask
Right.
the person to measure them.
Important lesson. One that hopefully we only need to learn once.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thankful that I didn't pay for them. I was gifted them. I saw them and asked if I could have them because they were free anyway. They were up for free. But I said, "Can I have these, please?" The guy said, "Yeah." I went and collected them, and when I turned up and he showed me the mirrors, I was a bit like, "Oh, they're bigger than I thought." A lot bigger than I thought because, like I say, they were for the bathroom, and yeah, they don't.
Right.
Well, they can. One of them can still go in the bathroom essentially, but what I mean is, I was looking for a mirror I could put on the edge of the sink or on the windowsill, like I say, to shaving, and I think now it's going to obviously have to go on the wall. So, yeah.
Marlon's suggestion was to just grow a beard. Says it would suit a sheriff, I think.
I cannot grow a beard. It's just not for me. Like it gets to a certain length and it seems to stop growing and it gets really itchy. And again, going back to the forces, habit of just being clean shaven, I can't do it for more than a couple of weeks. I just get to this stage where I have to shave it off, or I feel like I'm gonna tear my face off.
Right. I can understand that. I'm almost always, though, in some stage of beardiness, either just the goatee or stubble or a full beard. There's always something going on with my face.
Yep. I've always been, apart from in my teen years, when I was a teenager, back in secondary school, um, I don't know what came over me. I decided to grow my hair like proper. It was past my shoulders. Um, and then one day I just got fed up of it. This is a thing that's been part of my life for like obviously a long time. But I'm very spontaneous, do things very spur of the moment, and the whole wanting to grow my hair was spontaneous. I said to my mum, "I'm growing my hair," and she was like, "Okay, so that's what you want to do, grow your hair." And then it got, like I say, it grew to past my shoulders, and one day I just grabbed a pair of scissors and started cutting, and then obviously my mum was like, "Your hair is a mess. You need to get it cut." So I had it all cut, and I went almost skinhead. Like that
Yeah.
short, I mean, not not like right wing skinhead, but like I shaved all my hair off nearly to a skinhead, and I was like, yeah, I now like having short hair, and that's been that way for a long time. I mean, the military backs that up because you have to have short, tidy hair. Um, so that's why, like I say, that's why I'm clean shaven, and that's why my hair is. I have a short hairstyle. My hair doesn't normally. I don't let it grow out. I don't. Don't grow facial hair. I let it get to a comfortable length because obviously, in the military, you have to shave every day. Whether you have any stubble or not, it's just one of the things they make you shave.
Right.
But now, obviously, I'll let it grow for about a week, and as soon as it's a suitable length, I cut it off. I just shave.
It's funny because I often see, is it different when you are on mission? Because I often see people who have been out on patrol who have not full beards but pretty, maybe about my length, uh, every so often photographs.
Yeah, the rules have changed now. To be fair, I'm speaking. When I say we're made to shave, I'm speaking back when I served and I left in 2021.
Right.
But the rules used to be, I should specify, that you had to be clean shaven all the time, unless you had a medical reason or religious reason, and your hair had to be. I mean, the hair rule is still a rule. You have to have short, tidy hair. I'm not talking, like a skinhead or like a one all over, but as long as it's short and tidy. The general rule is it can't be touching your collar.
Right.
But facial hair, that rule has changed. So facial hair can be, as long as it's tidy, you can have a beard,
I know
or a
the
mustache, or both. Or
rules on tattoos have changed as well.
yeah, tattoos. The rule on tattoos is a weird one because that changes all the time. For me, when I joined up in 2016. I was 17 years old, and when I applied, I had no tattoos. And the rule was, at the time, you couldn't have tattoos on your face, neck, or hands. So when I got my tattoos, it was really stupid. I should have, been sensible and thought about things. When I applied, you have to specify if you do or do not have tattoos. So when I applied, I didn't have tattoos. And then it was my birthday at the end of the month that I applied, and I got a tattoo done for my birthday. So when I went back to do the aptitude test, I then had to say, oh, they asked if anything had changed, like where I lived, any of that kind of stuff, because obviously they have to keep updated. And he said, yeah, even the same, I can't remember his rank, but the same person who had seen me when I applied, and I said I don't have tattoos. He was going through the paperwork and automatically put no to tattoos. He was like, "Oh, you don't have tattoos. I remember you." And I went, "Oh no, I do have one tattoo now." So he had to check. He was like, "It's not a face tattoo. It's not a neck tattoo. Is it a hand tattoo?" And I said, "No, it's on my arm, and it had to be at the time 4 finger spaces from my hand."
Mhm.
Which all my tattoos are, because I've got 2 upper arm tattoos, and then the others are like forearm and inside arm, but they're all away from my wrists. But that rule changed about 3 months after I had enlisted, and I found out that I'd got into the military. The rule changed straight away to you could have hand tattoos but no neck or face. And then years later, they accepted hand and face tattoos and neck and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then I have a mate who recently joined up, and you are not allowed hand tattoos again, unless you obviously were already serving before the rule came back in. But now you can't go out and get a tattoo. But it's really weird because they can't keep track of stuff. Because when I, they had to keep updated on certain things. And I went in and said, I have a tattoo on my arm. Now I have 6, but at the time I only had the one, and then obviously I got a second one done. And I went in and I said, well, I went into the office and I said to the member of staff, I said, member of staff, that sounds a bit weird. You know, to the NCO, I said to him, I have another tattoo. It's on my inside of my arm. I showed him what it was because obviously there are certain rules on, offensive things as well. You can't have anything, racist or homophobic or any of that kind of stuff.
Right.
Obviously. But he asked me what it was, if it was offensive or, any of that kind of stuff, like violence related or anything. And I said no. And basically they just didn't care. They were like, right, okay, fine, whatever, you got a new tattoo. And it's like, oh, I thought I had to tell you all this stuff. And yeah, the rules just go back and forward with a lot of things. There's a lot of things that used to do my head in with military, not the military itself, but the government changed the rules. Obviously, the Ministry of Defence changed certain things. It's just, yeah, there's just so much to keep track of when you're serving.
Right. It's weird that they would have allow face tattoos and not hand tattoos. It seems kind of arbitrary, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I would never go for hand or face or neck tattoos anyway, because I just think they're a mess. Like, a lot of people say to me, as you get older, your tattoos are going to look horrible. And it's like, well, it's my so I don't care. Why should you be bothered about what I'm going to look like when I'm old? Because I'm me and you're you.
Right.
But personally, I would never go for face tattoos, hand tattoos, neck tattoos, any of that, because it's just, to me, it's messy. It's not a nice look. Well, that's my opinions again. But yeah, no, it is weird, like you say. It's very strange that you would. I apologize, I got hiccups. It's very weird that you wouldn't be allowed hand tattoos, but you can have face and all that. It is. I do get it, and that's what I mean about the rules. Can be a bit. It can be aggravating at times because you don't know where you are with certain rules. You're like, well, hold on, when did that rule change? There are even this is going a bit extreme and slightly bit off topic to we're talking about tattoos and things at the minute, but I remember it's only because I mentioned rules, and this is one that really you should be told when it changes. So the rules of engagement, and I don't mean in combat, I don't mean I don't mean in Afghanistan, Iraq, or anywhere like that, but the rules of engagement in the UK changed in 2017. So as I told you, in 2016 I joined up, and the rule of engagement when anything happened on base, you gave one warning verbally, and then you fired a warning shot, and then if that didn't stop a terrorist or whoever's trying to attack, doesn't have to be a terrorist, but a terrorist or anyone who's attacking, if that doesn't put them off, the verbal warning and the warning shot, you then shoot them. Well, the rule changed in 2017 from a verbal warning and a warning shot to just shoot to kill. So they completely removed two warnings. Obviously, they got rid of the verbal warning, they got rid of the warning shot, and it went straight from, if anything happens, you fire until the target is dead. You don't, there's no in between. There's no fire one shot at them and wound them. It's shoot to kill. And I get why, because in the UK, and I I'm not being ignorant. I don't know about places like America, but I know that in the UK, in 2017 and 2018, there were more terror attacks than there had been. We had the 7/7 bombings, but since then there was not a lot. In 2017 and 2018, you had 3 attacks on London Bridge. Stabbings, terrorists, and then in 2018 you had the Manchester Arena bombing. I'm sure that was 2018. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, because now I seem to think I've got that wrong. But either way, in 2017, 2018, there were many terror attacks in the UK. So the rule changed from those warnings, like I said, straight to shoot to kill. But we weren't told, not straight away. I happened to hear something. I called someone out thinking they were lying and said, no, that's a load of crap. You're talking nonsense. And I was then corrected And someone said to me, no, that's actually true. The rules have changed. The rules of rules of engagement have actually changed, and those are the kind of things that you should be told straight away. You shouldn't have to hear them somewhere and think someone's lying. Those are the things that you should be told straight away, and we weren't. It was
Agreed.
very, very, very stupid in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. Actually, everything should be straight up from the very beginning. That
Yeah.
this is what you do, without any point of confusion whatsoever. As simple as possible. Hey, Mark, how are you? Gravity Core Fitness is here. Hey, Shidoshi,
Mark and Joe, hello.
we got some unicorn vibes. Oh, Erica Point had a question about the beard length. Is that because of mask?
I think so. I don't fully know. Again, the rules changed. In fact, the beard rule changed after I left. So obviously, as I said, I left in 2020. I left service in 2021, and the rules changed in 2022. So I don't fully know why the rules changed, and I don't know what it is about. I just know that it can't be, massively long. I would say that it is because of respirators, gas masks. Because when I was serving, the whole reason you had to be clean shaven is because the straps, the chin straps and head straps and stuff couldn't be done up if you had a beard. It didn't fit
Makes sense.
against your face because the beard would cause little gaps in between the rubber seal.
Right.
I don't know whether the government's looked and gone, well, hold on, how likely is there to be a chemical attack anytime and stuff like that? And obviously they've weighed up pros and cons, and I think that's possibly why they've said, yeah, you can have beards. I would guess that obviously the shortness of the beard is down to respirators and stuff. So I'm going to say yeah, but I can't be 100%, obviously.
I
So I'm
think
just
there's
basically that's my opinion, if you like, my assumption.
Right. I think there's something to be said in the military for uniformity, that everyone having a similar appearance to keep things, to keep that sense of connection. You know what I mean? Not that
Yeah.
to saying not being an individual, but you have a uniform. Everyone wears the same uniform. Everyone has the same, everything. So it just makes sense to you keep that throughout, as orderly as. And I know you're a very orderly person, so you can sort of relate to that. As orderly as possible, as simple as possible, makes for a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, indeed. I'm very old-fashioned in a way. I think that the no facial hair rule should still be in place. Just because facial hair can even if it, I don't know the polite way to say, but even so, there's the rule saying facial hair has to be kept tidy. It can be a certain length and has to be tidy. Facial hair to me just is it's scruffy in my opinion. Not yourself, Yogi. Not many people. I'm just saying in a military
Sure.
way, facial hair is quite scruffy in that sense. And so I think for that, like you've just said, Yogi, with uniformity, I think military personnel should still be clean shaven.
Right. Eric Point says this is where we agree to disagree. Which part, Eric Point? And who?
If it's me,
Me or
if it's
Big Al?
me, if it's me, Eric, then I apologise. I'm not trying to offend or insult or anything. And I'm not saying that facial hair is messy. I'm saying in the military, it can be messy. I think soldiers or any military personnel should be clean shaven. That's just my opinion. That's like I said, very old fashioned of me to say that, but I think that the military should be clean shaven.
Yes, Eric the Point is pro beard. You know what? I never would have guessed it. Looking at Eric the Point, it never would have occurred to me that he would have been pro beard.
That's fine. Again, like I say, it's not. I'm not saying that all beards. I'm not saying that any facial hair is messy. I'm just saying, from a military perspective, that all military personnel should be clean shaven. That's my point. That's like, like I say, it's not aimed at everyone with a beard. It's aimed at the military.
Right. And Eric, point.
Yeah, he's taken that to heart, and I apologize. I Squirrel said, "Big Al, it's because the government were scared, not the people of the UK, just the government." I'd like to ask Squirrel what he means. Because I don't know what I said.
We'll see if he comes up. Something to say?
Shirley says that she agrees with me. I don't want people to take sides. That's not what I'm about. I'm just, everyone's got an opinion, and I was sharing my opinion. So,
Right. Eric says, "Big Al, no offense, all good vibes."
I once had a girlfriend who said that my beard itched when we kissed, so I told her to shave it off.
How did she take that?
That was my poor attempt at a joke, Yogi.
I had no doubt that you have once dated a girl that had a beard. I don't know why. I just figured, why not? You're an all-inclusive guy. I could see you loving someone for their heart, even if they had a beard. Beards and cooking equals danger, says Debs. That's true. You don't see a whole lot of chefs with beards, now that I think about it, or big beards at least.
That's true.
Marlon says, "I don't agree. Then again, I'm not the right person to be in the military anyway, so I might not be the best judge." Deb says, "I saw a cook that had a head plastic beard on his face at Five Guys. Looked funny, but I'm glad he had it." Yeah, I would agree. Which is probably the reason why you don't see cooks with beards, because it's people would want to wear a plastic thing on their face,
Yeah, I know who I'd like to have this discussion with, or at least ask his opinion on the military and beards. Is Jace?
Yeah, having served. I would imagine being in the guards, it might be an even stricter standard because you're making an appearance for head of state. Do you think?
Possibly. I mean, I don't know. It's like any job, really. Every kind of boss, if you like. There's a lot of bosses in the military because there's a chain of command. So you technically everyone's your boss if they're a higher rank. But essentially, what I'm getting at is my regiment. One of my corporals specifically, because most of the NCOs are laid back, and in fact, some of the officers are quite laid back as well. You'd be surprised that you see in the media and movies that officers are not to be friends with, and all of that kind of stuff. But I've had officers that they just see you as a mate, really.
Right.
I've been we've been in convoys, and it's been me that's been basically drawn the short straw, as we'd say, and I've been put in a vehicle with an officer. And on one journey, I was terrified to begin with. I got in the truck with him. We set off, and for I don't know about 10 minutes, he spoke to me, and I just answered yes sir, no sir, and was petrified. I didn't want to speak to him. I was begging in my head. I was hoping he'd shut up and not speak to me, because it is an officer, and it was scary for someone like myself. I'd only been in for about a year, so at this point, basic training is 30 weeks, and then obviously the rest of that is I'd basically passed training and been doing my job for however many months. and immediately got put in a vehicle with an officer to drive in convoy. And like I say, 10 minutes or more, he was doing all the talking, and I was just answering yes sir, no sir. And then he just turned to me and goes, "Oh, you don't speak much, do you?" And I was like, "Sorry, sir, I don't know if I'm allowed to speak to you. I don't know what to say." And he goes, "Are you stupid?" And I was like, "No, sir." And he went, "Well, why wouldn't you be allowed to talk to me?" I was like, "Well, you're an officer, and I'm just me." And he was like, "Of course you can talk to me. I'm making conversation with you." and then from then on, like, I was still respectful to him, obviously, but from then
Right.
on, we were talking the whole way, like there and back, just conversations, and obviously having served for a number of years, me and him and many of the other like NCOs and officers, we just became like mates, if you like. There was no formalities, no yes sir, no sir. You just spoke to him like he was a normal person in a sense, unless there were, other people around that you needed to be formal with. But most of the
Right.
time, you could get away with just being pally with an officer because it's not like the movie. It's not like movies perceive it. It's not like the news perceives it. If you are, you know, you have to make sure it's the know your audience kind of thing. But most people will make it, stated. They like that officer, for example. He just said to me, "Are you stupid? Why wouldn't you be allowed to talk to me?" And again, I was like bottom of the food chain. It's like, well, you're an officer and I'm just me. I've only been past basic training for about 4 months. Like, what gives me the right to speak to you? And someone found out the hard way. There was one specific corporal throughout my whole military career, not pally at all, called me like not maliciously. It was meant as a joke, and I took it as a joke. But he was very straightforward in the way that he spoke. And I went in. He asked me if he was being one of the only times that he'd actually been really, really nice. Really, in my opinion, was I walked into the staff bar, and the corporal that was in there said, "Does anyone want a hot drink?" And I said, "I'll have a coffee, please, corporal." And he goes, "You're a traitor to the kingdom. You're not getting shit." Sorry, I didn't mean to swear. Sorry, Yogi.
That's
Just
okay.
popped out. He says, "You're not getting anything. You're a traitor to the kingdom," and he didn't actually make me a drink. And I was like, "Oh, well, I know where I stand with that." But there was one time someone truly put their foot in it. They proper messed up. A guy who was a new recruit. Bearing in mind, I've just said what I said, and I wouldn't ever walk in and call him mate because I know what he's like. But this new recruit, he'd been in. I say been in. He hadn't even started his training. He'd been on the regiment for 2 weeks, and he walks in and calls the corporal mate. He goes, "You right, mate?" And he got a bollocking. He got like a new butthole ripped
Yeah.
because it was just. And he walked out, and the guy was nearly in tears. Bearing in mind, it was obviously a full-grown bloke, and this corporal nearly made him cry with the bollocking he gave him. And it was, yeah. So he was one of the NCOs that I wasn't pally with, but not many people were.
Huh.
But then, like I say, you had the opposite side of that. You had many officers and NCOs that were pally, and you knew you could say certain things or have a certain attitude with them. They weren't, yeah, they weren't too strict. Like I say, unless anyone was around, if there were other officers that you needed to be formal around, or there was new recruits, then obviously to set an example, you would use ranks and be formal and all that kind of stuff.
Right. It pays to know.
Exactly.
All right, Big Al, I'm going to get ready to wrap things up. I'm going to go to bed.
I apologise, Yogi. I didn't mean to stay for long.
Hey,
This is what I mean. I've said this in a previous when we've what do you call it? Sorry, I've said this in a previous like stream when we've spoken. The military is something I could speak about for hours. Like if we had a full day of a stream, if you were trying to set some kind of world record for the longest stream, we could get away with it. I say we, like I would definitely be able to get the world's longest stream. if the whole thing was just me talking about the military in any way, not just my own service, but the military in any way,
Sure.
because that is my like niche subject.
Never feel sorry for talking when you come up. Well, here's what I'm happy about. That you came up and you could tell that you were not just tired, but you weren't in the greatest space. You seemed a little not so much down as um, just not at your best. And we're ending the live stream, and you sound more at ease. You sound a little happier. Um, so I'm happy that you could be up here and have this conversation. I think a lot of people found it very enlightening, very entertaining, and very informative. So thank you, Big Al.
I'm surprised not everyone fell asleep while I was talking.
I enjoyed listening. Hopefully, I had some good questions. Well, Debs has done a 36-hour stream.
That's some good going, that.
I've done 24-hour races. Quite a few, actually. Probably the most races I've ever done were 24-hour races. Well, no, 50Ks were the most. I've done more 50Ks than any other race, and then the second would be 24-hour races.
It's hard for me to say. I mean, I've never done a long race or anything. But I've done obviously a lot of long distance running and stuff in the military. I can't remember the longest distance I've ever sort of ran or had to march or anything.
Probably a fair amount, and you had to do it not just. I've done some a lot of rucking with fairly heavy weight, anywhere from, and I've done a lot of backpacking with backpacks that weighed up to 80 pounds or so. But you had to do it with a ruck as well as carrying other equipment at the same time.
That's true, and this will be the last thing that I, because I don't want to take up much more of your time. You want to go to bed, obviously, but I remember doing one tactical advanced battle was done as a punishment because I messed up, not in a dangerous way, but I messed up something. So as a punishment, and in fact, the officer that I've been mentioning, he said, right, me and you, we're going on a run. It was full kit, but he says we're going on a run, and he told me it was 8 miles, and he lied because he wanted to see if I could pass his little test. But he said, "Oh, we're gonna run 8 miles." And when we actually stopped at the other end, because it was point to point, and then we got a lift back, we got to the other end, and he says, "Do you want to know something?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, what?" And he goes, "You've actually ran 14 miles. Now it's not a lot. It's a bit in kit, but when we stopped, he goes, "Yeah, I actually lied. We didn't do 8 miles. We've done 14." He says, "I'm surprised you did the whole thing and didn't question how far we'd ran, because obviously it was a bit more than he initially said." But it just reminded me of that, like when you're not focusing on something, you're too busy thinking about other things, and it was, for me, it was a punishment, and I'm in my head, I'm like, right, don't ever mess up again, because this is what happens. We have to go on, and what I thought was an 8 mile run, and like I say, when we got to the other end, because I'd been so preoccupied in my own head, it was when we stopped. He said, "Yeah, do you want to know something?" And then just said that you've done 14 miles and you didn't stop once. You didn't complain. You haven't said you're tired. Any of that stuff. And it was like, well, yeah, because it's a punishment. I'm not going to complain about a punishment that I've received. And it was funny. But anyway, yeah, that's enough of that for now.
No, obviously anything long distance wise, and I find it fascinating. And like I said, you were in full gear, which makes 14 miles even harder than, just going out and doing 14 miles. Hey, Daisy. Daisy May is here. Nice to see you, Daisy. And like Cypress says, in all weather, too. This is true.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite thankful that every time I have done a yomp or a tab, it has been in okay weather. In 2018, I did actually end up in hospital. I collapsed because I was dehydrated. 2018, we had a heat wave. I think it got to about 30 degrees in the daytime in whatever month it was. But in 2018, yeah, it got to like over 30 degrees Celsius in the day. We were doing one of our tabs at the time, and I just hit the deck. I didn't remember at the time. I just remembered stuff afterwards. But I woke up in the back of an ambulance, being, given water through a drip. I was on fluids, and the doctor had an inhaler and all that kind of stuff, and just making sure that I was fine. And yeah, I was in hospital for a couple of days just while I was being hydrated.
Yeah.
But I'd had, because they said to everyone that morning, make sure you're hydrated, make sure you're full of food and stuff like that. And I'd had a fry up and drank 2 cups of tea, some orange juice, plenty of water, took 2 bottles of water with me. Everyone was everyone was drinking and stuff. I was even on the run because the medics backed me up on that and said, no, I've watched him. He's been sipping his water at each couple of miles. And just one of the things, the heat got to me, the weight of the kit and everything. It just, yeah, I lost a lot of moisture and sweat, obviously. So
I've been there
one of those
myself.
things.
Ended up in the emergency room on IV after a race. Not fun.
I mean, because for a while I blamed myself with that. I was like, well, I obviously didn't drink enough. I didn't eat enough. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. But like I say, people backed me up and said, no, we saw what you ate. We saw what you drank. We know that you definitely did enough. Just the heat and the run itself and all these things mixed in, and just it obviously took its toll. But I ended up having to redo it, obviously, because if you fail, any of your fitness stuff, you have to retake that part. And I
Right.
just redid it when the weather was a bit cooler, and it was fine.
Understood. All right, Big Al, next time you come on, we're going to talk more about distance.
Fair enough.
Training.
That's fine.
Definitely a fun thing to talk about. All right, I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah, I am too. And I apologize for being here for nearly an hour, Yogi. I really am sorry about that.
Not a problem. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed our conversation. I always do, Big Al. Still there?
Yep, sorry. Yeah, I thought you were still speaking. Sorry.
Oh, nope. Nope. Hey, Chloe. Chloe Smith is here. Said hi. Welcome in. Yeah, just always know, you're always welcome up, and I always enjoy our conversations.
I appreciate that, Yogi. And as always, I appreciate you allowing me up, and Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year. Thank you, Arco.
And I apologize. I haven't been up for the past couple of times. I've been here. I've left a couple of likes. In fact, I don't know whether you saw my comment earlier. I popped in and left a like, but I didn't stay.
Yep.
But I did leave a comment and say, I'm leaving a like and all that kind of stuff, because I do support you, but I can't always stay if I'm super busy. I'll just pop in and leave a like, leave my support there. But no, I'll try and get in again tomorrow.
Okay.
And I've got a busy day again. Like I say, I've already changed. I've cancelled appointments that I should have had tomorrow.
Right.
Because I've got a super busy day, and the same on Friday. More appointments and more busyness. But like I say, I'll try and jump in and have a little chat.
I appreciate it.
And I will try and keep it short next time as well, Yogi.
Well, let's see how that works out.
It helps if you don't ask me more questions.
That's true. But hey, like I said, I enjoy the conversation. So the reason I ask questions because I want more information, and I enjoy you and I going back and forth.
Yeah, I always love it. That's part of the reason I talk for a long time, because you're just so easy to get along with, and you guys are my little family. And no, I do love it. I love being able to talk to you all and all of that kind of stuff. and as I've said, I appreciate you having me up here, Yogi.
Always. All right. Deb says night.
I'm gonna jump off and see you all tomorrow.
All right. Thanks, Big Al.
Take care.
Thanks for coming in, Bob. Hey, Eric Lapointe, thank you so much for the jewels. That seems a little different. How they multiply like that. Combo times 3 times 4 times 5. Wow. I don't know if I've seen that before. Well, Rome says as long as stream was 52. That's a lot. A lot of streaming. That would be a whole lot of Yogi. I respect you guys too much. I care for you guys too much to give you that much Yogi. All right. So, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I got a package that was just delivered. I'm going to go grab it and bring it in. And then I'm off to bed. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you again, Eric, so much. Much appreciated. Big Al says, going to edit one. Sorry for taking up all the time. Not a problem. All right. Love you guys. Seppa says, night, Eric. Thank you again, Eric Lapointe. Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you, Eric. The jewels keep piling up. Thank you, Toy Pups. That's okay. All right. Now I'm saying goodnight. I love you guys. Take care.